Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2. And today I'm going to be giving you part 37 of What If Izuna Uchiha was Naruto's ancestor. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto was a badass genius that I posted over on Anime King, and enjoy that guys. I also post a new episode of What If Naruto returned different after his training trip, so go ahead and enjoy it as well guys. And on this channel I posted the final episode of What If the 10 Tails was sealed inside of Naruto. Go ahead and check it out and enjoy guys. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support, and yeah, without further ado, let's begin this new episode. Start the intro.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their
So, the last time we left off, Naruto told Haku how much he loved her, as Haku told him that she's ready, as the both of them head to the bedroom, as they did it together for the first time, as the both of them had a wonderful time together. After that, they cozy up in each other's arms, just holding on to each other for the entire night. The next morning, Naruto went to visit Kakashi, as Kakashi was in the cells, as Naruto wanted Kakashi to join him, as he wanted Kakashi on his side. He didn't want to kill Kakashi like the others say, as Kakashi after a while told him that he would think about it. As with that, Naruto left. He then went and visited Sasuke, as he didn't want Sasuke to be brooding all over and over, as he told Sasuke the true reason behind the Uchiha massacre, as he told Sasuke he wanted him to become his personal knight, as Sasuke said he wanted a damn bodyguard, as Naruto wanted to bring Sasuke out and show him the places and make him meet new people. That night he brought Sasuke out, as Sasuke met Karin, and the moment Karin met Sasuke, she fell in love with him, as Naruto was happy that he got her off his back. Some days then passed as Kurenai wake up in the hospital, as Jiraiya was there, as Jiraiya told her she has been out for a week and some days, as Jiraiya appointed her as a new Hokage, as she was beyond shock as she was confused, as Jiraiya said he would speak to Karin, the new leader of the Fire Country, as Naruto is currently in control of Konoha and probably half of the Fire Country, and Gaara is in control of the Sand and he only listens to Naruto's commands, as Kurenai was told by Jiraiya that she and Naruto used to be together and he probably sealed away her memories. As she wanted to be broken, she wanted to know what did she feel for him, and if she was going to become the Hokage of this village, she had to do the right thing. They were going to take back Konoha and rebuild the village to what it once was, the greatness, as the entire nation is tense, as that single boy is going to rally the entire elemental nations, as Kurenai accepted the job of becoming Hokage. We then skip to Orochimaru as he was working on a new experiment. After all that Naruto has done, it was easy to get life hosts. Taking away people is rather easy nowadays, as Orochimaru and Kabuto was planning on something, as Kabuto told Orochimaru that it will be done in a year or two, and then Orochimaru smiled. They will get their revenge, and he will strike Naruto with everything he got and strike him down. So yeah guys, that was basically the last part we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself, so let's begin this new episode. Bright flames were across the battlefield, as the place was foul and soaked in blood, rivers of blood and drenched, as hundreds of bodies lie everywhere, of shinobis and samurais. It was a massacre, and other armed fighters. Many bodies were burning in the fire that had been enveloping the shinobi world for the past 3 years. Everything felt civilization broke down, as some even call it the rise of the Second Age, or the era of the Reich. The ninja world witnessed a holocaust which humanity has not seen since the fall of the Ten Tails thousands of years ago. Fight, surrender, flee, or die. Those were the only options available to everyone in the world. Every warrior had come to the conclusion that this was the biggest war they have ever faced. As the sounds of footsteps echoed through the battlefield, about 100 survivors trembled in fear, man, woman, as they had terrified look in their eyes. The last remnants of the Earth Country Daimyo's family. The only thing that will remain through this world is that the history will be written by the winner. Take this lesson to your heart and remember it as you take it to your graves. A pair of evil red eyes came to life as the members of the families trembled in pure fear. All they could do is feel the desire to do whatever those eyes want them to do. Naruto Uchiha commands you to all die. The people seemed to have a calm look on their face now as they went over and picked up weapons off the battlefield. And after that it was a bloodbath, as the 100 people who were family slaughtered each other mercilessly. They were screaming and laughing the entire time as it went on for 5 minutes. The end of another nation. He watched with cold eyes as the civilization and system that he was once a part of crumbled a little more. The world was changing and he was the one who was changing it. He has gone by many names. The Fearer, the Emperor, the Butcher, the Conqueror, the Destroyer, the Demon. He was everything. He was Naruto Uchiha, the Harbinger of Death, the Destroyer of the ninja world, the murderer of the ninja civilians. Behind him stood his endless army of Reich soldiers as they were dressed in their uniforms as they watched as their leader single-handedly ended another leadership, expanding their vast empire. A small camera had recorded the entire massacre and it was being broadcasted across the entire world. A message has been sent. The ear turned extremely cold as Naruto looked into the camera, as all eyes were fixed on him now. Is this the best ninja world can throw at us? Naruto asked. Standing 6 feet 4 inches tall, dressed in his Reich uniform, with a crown on his head, did not lead any regard the amount of power that this man had gained. His silky blonde hair had grown long and was falling down his face, yet you could see the Mangekyo Sharingan through the strands as he sent shiver down many of their spines. There was not a drop of blood on him, yet the countless dead show that this man must be feared. This is the same fate that awaits all of you if you do not surrender. Surrender and you will become a part of Reich. But if you try to stand against me, I will bestow the same that I just bestow upon the Earth Country. Your nation have fallen, governments destroyed, leaders killed, armies scattered. Konoha, Hiri, the stone, the sand have now become a part of our fatherland. The pathetic resistance that the ninja have formed cannot help you, no matter the promise that they made. Only one power remains in this world, and it's the right, Naruto said proudly. If you continue to resist, your family will suffer. If you wish to challenge us, then go ahead. You will either lose everything or win. That is how a war is supposed to be. As he then raised his hand in the air, "For Reich," he said. On hearing their leader battle cry, all of the Reich soldiers shouted, "For Reich!" Meanwhile in a room, the transmission just ended, as the people in the room were shocked. Despite the presence of 3 Kages in the room, it was not enough to calm the people in there. The stone has fallen, Meikarumi said in disbelief. The former Mizukage. It is only a matter of time, the Reich is too powerful. Murder Temari, the self-proclaimed exile leader of the Sand. It was quite ironic that her younger brother had staged a coup and now reigned over the Sand, as the Reich take over the Wayne country, making the Sand a part of the empire now. Do we have any group about the Tishikage and his group of survivors? Asked Kurenai, the 5th Hokage of the former Konoha. Noticing the look in the eyes of her fellow Kages proved the news was not good. Oniki is stubborn, And after watching what Naruto did to his people, I doubt, Jiraiya said, as he watched Kurenai sigh. What do you think the old fool will do? Will he join us? Kurenai said, as she never in her wildest dreams thought she would be the resistance. She would be in a resistance. With two former Kages. Her mind was still fresh with Naruto commanding people to die. He execute them without any kind of remorse. Her eyes glanced through everyone in the room, and all of them had an unending hatred for Naruto. This past 3 years, since she became Hokage, 3 years has passed, and they have been very extremely hard for her. She have lost her home and many friends, and a man she once loved, a man that she still loved. She could now understand why Sasuke messed up the seal in her mind. During these 3 years, she recovered memories of her and Naruto. After confronting Anko, her doubts are confirmed. She was in truth, in love, with the Emperor, Naruto Uchiha. As she wondered back then, could she have done something? Could she have stopped him? No, she couldn't. Could she have prevented the rise of the Empire? No, she couldn't. The only thing she would have probably gained by siding with him back then was to prevent him from massacring the ninja race. There was times where she wondered if she sided with him, what would have happened? Kakashi had done that, and that amazed her. Anko was heartbroken as she felt betrayed, and they were beyond shocked when they heard the news. Naruto had married, and so had Kakashi. As she and Anko were beyond shocked when they just heard the news. Anko did not take the news lightly. She felt betrayed while Kurenai was extremely sad. It was quite an irony that the woman that became wife of those two had the same initial. Haku was now Uchiha Haku, while a mysterious woman named Henari was Kakashi's wife. Digging through Kakashi's past, they figure out that that woman was a spy that infiltrated Konoha years ago. And if Inoichi's personal observation found in the report was true, she was Kakashi's first love. The woman was said to be killed years ago in a prisoner exchange. Kakashi himself verified that. But now Kurenai realized that even in the past Kakashi had put his love for someone above the village. He let Henari escape because he loved her. He joined her to crusade because he loved the boy like his own son. It wasn't like he didn't try. After a year after his capture, when Kakashi was released from his prison, he made a strange request. He asked to meet Anko and Kurenai in a secluded position, away from both armies. What shocked Kurenai's decision was that Naruto accepted, as she could remember that day like it was yesterday. Flashback, 2 years ago. Kurenai patiently watched as Anko walked from one side to another in the forest. They were quite surprised when they had received Kakashi's message that he wanted to meet them. He had asked him to come alone and he would do the same, but she doubted it. As such, she had a team of Anbu Black Ops ready to angle the situation if things didn't go as planned. As Anko believed that Kakashi had somehow escaped and wanted them to rescue him, but Kurenai knew. She knew that Naruto and Kakashi shared a bond which was stronger than Kakashi's oath as a ninja. Her thoughts were interrupted when they heard footsteps as Kakashi emerged out of the forest. But they saw his body, what he was wearing. Kurenai's eyes widened as she was about to single her rescue team when, "It is no use, Kurenai." She froze when she heard that voice. It was the same voice she had heard in her dreams for the past year, as she loved that voice so much. Turning around, she saw Naruto standing there. Around him was the unconscious form of her rescue team. As Kakashi quickly stepped in front of Naruto and stopped Anko from attacking him. "You traitor," said Anko. She got more pissed when Naruto gave her a ice smile. "Love you too, Anko," he said, as he turned his gaze towards Kurenai. "You have no need to fear. We're going to negotiate, and that's all we're going to do. You and your man will not be harmed, I give you my word," she promised. "Why did you bring us here? Did you use Kakashi?" asked Kurenai. "I requested Naruto to arrange this meeting. There is something I need to talk to you about," said Kakashi. "Why the hell are you wearing that filth?" asked Anko. Naruto saw the tension rising as he gestured for Kurenai to follow him, which she slowly did, as things escalate between Kakashi and Anko. "You turned him, didn't you?" asked Kurenai, as she saw him staring at the moon in the sky. "Every person make a choice for themselves. There are circumstances which will affect that decision, but every person ultimately make a choice for themselves. Kakashi made his, and so did I, and so did you. Congratulations on your promotion, Hokage. As a smile was on his lips, for a moment she stopped thinking like the Hokage. As she watched his smile, "Will you stop?" she asked. "We are destined to fight each other, Kunai. I wish I can change that. I truly do. The truth is that I respect you, despite the opposite sides that we're on. You stood by your beliefs, despite the overwhelming odds." He knew she was the enemy now, despite him being in a relationship with Haku, and he was faithful to her, but he couldn't stop. What was in his heart? He still loved her, but he had also accepted that they could not be together in this life. "You really love me, don't you?" she said, as he froze. She noticed a shock in his eyes. It was quite amusing that he thought he had put her away from any harm, that he could still protect her, even from afar. Even if they were on opposite sides, he always wanted to protect her. And just that thought made her love him, as she didn't see him as a monster which people accuse him to be, as she knew it was a ninja world that turned him into this. But she could just hope that she could make him stop, because despite her training, her difficult training with Jiraiya, he was still stronger, and he simply turned all of the captive soldiers on his side by force, as he could easily replace the troops that he lost, but Kunai couldn't. Not to forget that he also turned civilians the same way, and he already established a growing kingdom. "How?" asked Naruto in shock. "Sasuke," Kunai said. Naruto clenched his fist as he closed his eyes, as he saw the anger raising up inside of him. But he calmed it. It was like a beast getting out of control, but he calmed himself. "I'm sorry for what Sasuke did. But he was beyond shock when she hugged him. If any of their soldiers had seen him like this, there would have been serious consequences. At least on Kunai's side, Naruto was not to worry about himself because his army was obedient. He cursed himself when his trembling arms wrapped around her. Why couldn't he stop himself? At this moment he wished that none of them was a ninja. Why couldn't they have just been born as Naruto and Kunai and been together? "I've missed you," Naruto said. "I've missed you too," said Kunai, as she pulled back a bit, as she then moved forward to kiss him, but he turned his face as she kissed him on the cheek. She then looked him in the eyes. "I'm with someone," he confessed. Kunai felt like someone had stabbed a cold kunai right through her heart. Her first reaction was to lash out at him, but then she remembered it was her decision that drove them away in the first place. "You're an honorable man," said Kunai, as she broke the hug and stepped away. "I have always loved you, Kunai, but I can't betray Haku and my beliefs. Just as you stick with your ideals, and you're a ninja, I have to stick with my people as well. We're like ice and fire," Naruto said. "Then please stop," she said. "Don't make yourself the enemy of the entire world. The ninja villages are slowly uniting against you," warned Kunai, hoping that he would listen. But he merely gave her a smile. "So the prideful villages are scared of little old me? That's fine. Let them become my enemy. I am not the one who is wrong. It's the ninja world that needs to change. And the world will change one way or another," said Naruto with a serious look in his eyes. "And you should know, my crusade won't stop. After all, I am Uchiha Naruto, the man who destroys the world, and the man who creates them." End of flashback. As she could still hear his words ringing in her ear, he had been true to his promise. He had changed the world, he had almost destroyed the shinobi system. His victory was a must unless great measures were put together to stop him. Steps that she has hesitated to take until now. She loved him and she couldn't bear to hurt him. But looking at the depressed face of her people and the way he was changing the world, she had no choice. As she steeled herself and took a deep breath. "Jiraiya, what is the report so far?" she asked. "Not good. We have completely lost fire, wind, and water, and now earth. The smaller villages have surrendered and merged with the empire willingly. There are still various factions of Ninja Nation fighting, but they are nothing but a nuisance to Naruto. He will eventually silence them as well. I have also got word that the right army is sniffing across Kumo's borders, just scouting missions, but they're gonna make a move soon," said Jiraiya. Any information about the captured tail beast? May asks. I'm afraid not, except for the Navy and the Haxabi safe inside of Kumo. The rest have been captured. My best guess is that he sealed them away somewhere. He's trying to recreate the Jubi and rule over the world with his power, said Jiraiya. What about the Ichibai in Gaara? Said Temari. It was sealed, and due to Tsunade's help, your brother did not die. Because Naruto wouldn't allow that to happen. Gaara was his close supporter and a friend, and he wouldn't let him die. I see, said Temari. A small part of her heart felt relief for her younger brother. Despite what he did, they were still family. And the entire Sand Village, her father, all of them, had given Gaara nothing, so it's time for his payback. Will Naruto seal the Kyuubi? If that happens, he will die, said Kurnai. Not quite, he doesn't need to seal the entire tail beast. Our monks believe if he seal 80% of the Biju's chakra, that will be more than enough to awaken the Jubi. I think Naruto is not awakening Jubi at the full power. He does not trust himself fully, whether he will be able to control the monster or not. All the more reason that madman has to be stopped, said Mei. As Kurnai then stood up, as Jiraiya was happy as he saw the confidence on her face, as it made him proud that she fit the uniform well. Judging from the painful look in her eyes, she has put duty above emotion. Jiraiya, stay. The rest of you leave us, she said. Mei and Temari looked at her, as they nodded and left the room. Jiraiya held his gaze as Kurnai glared at him. So, you finally come around, kid? Asked Jiraiya, making her frown. Naruto did not leave me any choice. We can't defeat him in traditional warfare. He's too strong, said Kurnai. You're strong too, and I don't mean as a shinobi. God no, I have taught you everything I know. You are the best student after Minato, and in a way you have the same desire to protect people. You're a strong woman who put others before herself. A pity that Naruto couldn't be like you. Jiraiya, I have stopped judging him for his actions. We're no better. The only thing that matters is who wins in the end, Kurnai said. Fair enough, said Jiraiya. Start Operation Maelstrom, and I want him alive, said Kurnai. Very well, Hokage. I will end this once and for all, said Kurnai as she stormed out of the room. As Jiraiya saw the tears that fall from her eyes as she exited the room. Please forgive me, Naruto, thought Kurnai as she walked off. Time skip, Naruto stepped inside the luxurious room. The place was everything a man could imagine in his dreams. Soft carpet, luxurious, in-built bathroom, a dressing corner, a beautiful mirror, one of the softest and most comfortablest bed in all lands, and most of all an extremely beautiful woman sleeping soundly. Just the mere sight of Haku and the place they live in just made him feel happy. As he wouldn't mind a smaller luxurious place, but all of them said that he deserved the best for all that he has done for them for the years. It was midnight right now. His journey back to the capital had been quite long. His wife was soundly sleeping in her bed, and the peaceful look on her face made him quite happy. As he glanced at the ring in his hand, which made him happy, marrying her was perhaps the best decision he ever made in his life, and he did not regret it one bit. After taking a bath, and then dressed in only shorts, he crawled into bed as quietly as possible. As he simply watched her with a smile on his face. You're staring, she said. As he knew that she was awake, a sensory ninja like her would be awake the moment he stepped into the corridor. Besides, she always had sharp intuition when it comes to him. In the last 3 years, he has changed from a young boy to a man. He hated to admit it, but he looked like an exact replica of his father, except he had smooth hair like his mother. He was tall, fair, and handsome. As his body was growing more muscular, and he even started to grow a beard, which he had to regularly maintain his wife's orders. As Haku was changed as well, as she became an empress and handled the regular affairs of the kingdom. He would supervise her and guide her. But frankly, she didn't need it. She was actually better at politics and negotiation than him. All the more reason he had given her the responsibilities, as this kept her from risking her life on the front lines. And he didn't have to worry about the burden of maintaining their empire, as he told her that he didn't want her to risk her life anymore. And she was angry at first, but she realized he was giving her something more important to handle. The fate of their future, the fate of the kingdom. Sure, for the world, people think that he wanted to rule over everything, but Haku knew that Naruto hated being an emperor. If it wasn't for the sake of Valkyrie, he would have lived away from all of this spotlight and danger. The more he thought about it, the more it terrified him. as he had done so much. He had committed genocide on his own race. He has destroyed many lives, hopes. He has destroyed the system to create a new one to bring peace. He had to keep on forward, but he knew that one day he had to repent for his sins, and he and Sasuke promised that one day they will do that. His enemies consider him a heartless bastard, but he didn't kill anyone unless it was necessary. He of all persons knew the value of someone's life and what it meant to their families. Haku placed a hand on his cheek as he hugged her. As she had also developed as well, she was taller now, reaching up to his shoulders. Her face was still the same, but yet achieved an even more feminine edge. Her hair now reached up to her back, and it was the most beautiful features to him, apart from her eyes. "You okay?" she asked as he dressed back, as he brushed a strand of hair that was falling over her face. God, she was beautiful. He now realized how idiotic and stupid he was 3 years ago. He would have cursed himself for eternity if he let this woman go that night, as he was lucky that he had some brain and everything turned out alright. "Yeah, just a long day. How about you?" Naruto asked, as she puffed out her cheeks. "Paperwork and meetings," she said. "You know, when I signed up for this, I never expect my job to be this boring." As he had a bit of guilt in his eyes, as he never wanted to push her behind the decks, she and Snady, both of them, had the wit to maintain the vast empire, and dealing with day-to-day issues and keeping the subjects happy. Naruto would love more than to command the people and solve the problems. But Haku said that would just backfire in the longer run. She was right, and he received the same advice from Snady, so he made a choice. Haku would be acting as second in command and looked after the kingdom, with Snady, who was the assistant governor of the Reich. While they maintained the peace at home, Naruto, Sasuke, Kakashi, Gaara, and the rest of the soldiers fight. It was a balanced system that had worked quite smoothly so far. "I am not complaining, I know it's necessary. It's just," said Haku. "Alright, whenever the next negotiations comes, you can come with me, but there are certain conditions," Naruto said. "Really?" said Haku. As he saw the eager look in her eyes, she was edging for some actions, and he would not turn down her wishes. "Yes, but you have to agree to my conditions." "Fine," Haku said. "You will follow my lead, and if things get dangerous, I want you to retreat to safety." "And I mean it, Haku. If I tell you to run, you follow my order. And this is non-negotiable," he said, with a serious tone. "I can't just leave you alone in danger. What kind of wife do you think I am?" Haku snapped, as he rubbed his temple. "You're not just my wife, but the Empress as well. The people look up to you. Sure, Steady can handle the affairs while we're away, but the people look up to you for leadership. More importantly, I lost a lot of people close to me." "I can't lose you," he whispered, his voice barely reaching her ears. The anger disappeared from her eyes as she took in a deep breath. He was really going out of his way to grant her wish. "Alright, I'll do as you say," as he kissed her on the cheek, and all the tension vanished. As Haku spoke again, "Do you think that maybe we can have a child?" she said, as she saw his smile slowly fade away. As he looked up at the ceiling, "I honestly don't know, Haku. After what happened to Ren, His voice said it all, despite what happened. He has never forgotten about his long-lost daughter. Haku had helped him get over his past with the other things, but not Ren. That was a completely different story, a barrier that she couldn't break. Whenever she tried to talk about it, he would shut himself. It hurt her, but she managed because she knew he was hurting even more. "You can't change the past, Naruto," she whispered into his ear. This was Naruto's greatest weakness. He had defeated armies. He had defeated the current Kages. But his greatest weakness out of everything was Ren. That child was Naruto, Achilles' heel. At first she thought it was Kunai. That was Naruto's greatest weakness. But he had shut that woman out of his life for their goal, and for her as well. But Ren was something else. As Naruto showed her every memory of his past, except for that one with his daughter. He had met that child just once in his life, and this was the impact he had on him after all these years. As this was the difference between him and his father, while Minato would have sacrificed his son for the village, Naruto literally burned the village to the ground for the sake of his daughter and the injustice done to her. As she knew, the destruction behind the ninja world was for the death of one innocent child. I have lived my entire life without any regret, except for this one, he said, as Haku stroked his cheek. She didn't speak as she was scared that he would shut down on her again. This was the first time he was talking about Ren this much, and she didn't want to push him, so she simply listened. It's not that my daughter, as he sobbed a bit, gave her life for the nation and her comrades. It's just that I never told her that I loved her, he said, as tears started to run down his cheeks. She was all that was best in me, and this ninja world turned her into a weapon the moment she was born. And for that, I'll destroy every single ninja in this world. I'll burn your village to the ground. I'll execute their Kages publicly. I'll take away all they hold dear, just as they did to me. And this I promise as the first emperor of the Reich. Haku tensed upon hearing his tone, as, despite his kindness, there was a part of him that scared her. Well, not for her, herself, but as Haku placed her hand on her belly. As Naruto noticed that as he looked at her. Is there something you're not telling me? As Haku froze a bit, as he noticed. But she removed her hand and placed it on his cheek. Now why would you think that, she said, a smile. Time skip. A boy. Haku froze, as Tsunade told her that she was having a boy. Are you sure? I mean, it's too early, said Haku, as Tsunade had a smile on her face, as Naruto was like a son to her, and to hear that she was getting a grandchild. You have a point. We won't know for sure since you're only at 12 weeks now. But in a few more, we will. I still think it's a boy, said Tsunade. You look worried, said Tsunade. Why wouldn't I be, said Haku. You don't want this child, said Tsunade. What? No. How could you even think that, said Haku. Then what's the problem, asked Tsunade, as Haku lowered her head, as Tsunade started to connect everything. He doesn't know, does he, she asked, as she got all that she needed to know by Haku not saying anything. As far as Tsunade know, Naruto loved Haku, and vice versa as well. This child was a promise of a bright future, so why so much fear? It's him. I don't think he's ready to be a father. Perhaps not now. Perhaps not ever, said Haku. Is this because of Ren? Said Tsunade as she placed a hand on Haku's shoulder. Deep down she knew Haku had a point. Naruto was messed up when it comes to children. If only that tragedy had not happened in the past. But it was that tragedy that led to Valkyrie and everything. I understand your concern, but he has a right to know. I'm surprised he hasn't realized this with his sensory powers, said Tsunade. Haku then pointed to a kanji on the lower part of her arm, a small one. Karen developed a seal. It suppressed my chakra and act as a shield to prevent him from sensing anything inside of me. You're damn right, said Temporary. You're gaining weight slowly. It won't be long before he noticed. As Haku understood, he had a right to know. This was much as his child as hers. Not to forget, this baby would be a prince, the heir to the Reich's throne. She couldn't help but smile when she thought about that, and that moment. She loved the little one more than anything, she could tell. The doubts, the fear she had went away as she accepted. Soon she would be a mother. What do you think he'll be like? Asked Haku. From what I observed, the first child usually looked like the father, with a few traits from the mother. Personally wise, it could go either way, but I hope this brat takes after you. I don't need another little Naruto running around. His father already has a head bigger than the mountain. I don't think I can handle two of them, and neither can you, said Tsunade in a joke. Little Naruto, it sounds nice, said Haku. You won't be saying that when you'll be changing diapers all day and all night. Babies are quite moody, but you will do well, since you're already dealing with a moody baby, she said. I just hope this child can make him. Old again? Asked Tsunade. Yes, Haku said. Naruto is many things, but he's not a bad father. But you got to understand, a man love their child as much as their woman. Daughters are especially the stars of their father's eyes. This child will never be a replacement for Ren. She will always remain in his heart, but what I can assure you, that he will love his son as well. I understand, thank you, Tsunade, said Haku. So does that mean I get to name the baby? Asked Tsunade. Hell no, Haku said. But guys, be ending this episode right here. If you want the next part of this, you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment, no below, and turn the bell notifications stay posted. Remember to share to all of your friends in your social media platform and stay in tune. Well, for tomorrow what ifs, I hope you enjoyed each and every one of tonight, and thank you for all of your help and support. And yeah, guys, I'm all for now. See you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful night. Peace.